Panning is pivotal for achieving vibrant dimensional mixes with clarity and minimal masking. Without proper panning techniques, your mix will sound cluttered and one-dimensional like this. But with a proper understanding of how to pan successfully in the stereo image, your mix can sound three-dimensional and clear like this. I want to break down 4 quick tips for how to pan with precision just like the pros. These tips are to understand the stereo image, control placement in the stereo image, maintain balance, and getting creative with panning. For anyone that's confused, the stereo image is simple enough to understand. Think of a stage and all of the parts of an orchestra on that stage. Various instruments that play different frequencies are spread out so they don't overlap and mask one another. You can think of your mix as a stage with the left side representing your left ear and the right side representing your right ear. Every sound that you add to a mix, you want to listen and identify where on the stage the sound is and make decisions from there. Take, for example, this string sound. This sound is right down the center of the stage. Now take a listen to this piano, which is wider in the stereo image. Now, every sound that exists has a center and a width associated with it. The trick for pro panning is to recognize the width and placement simultaneously of every sound in order to fill out your stage in a complete way. To adjust the width of a sound, we have tools like stereo imagers. Take a listen to this string sound again as I convert it from a more narrow width to a wider stereo image using an imager. With complete control of your sound's width and placement, you can really fill up that stage easily. When you start mixing your song, it's important to maintain balance from left to right in your mix. If you pan things to the left, you probably want to have something else going on the right as to not make your listener feel confused and skewed in one direction. Take a listen to how awkward it feels to have multiple sounds on the left with nothing corresponding on the right. Now take a listen to this same idea, but if we have a well-balanced left and right. Much better, right? Once you get used to this practice and start to feel more comfortable, where mixes really shine is when you can get creative with panning. Introducing movement in the stereo image is one of the most useful panning techniques. Having a juxtaposition between a well-balanced mix and a singular element moving in the stereo field can add an extra level of fullness and intriguing complexity to your mix. Take a listen to our idea when we have the hi-hats panning from left to right on beat using a simple auto panner. There's just enough added complexity here to be interesting, but not to overwhelm the listener with too much craziness. Keep that in mind whenever you introduce movement with panning. And we can take this to an even wilder place with multi-band auto panners. Take, for instance, Cable Guy's Pan Shaper. What's awesome about this plugin is it allows us to break down the signal into multiple bands and pan those bands differently. We can also create movement in those bands to create some really exciting and dynamic changes to the sound. Take, for example, this piano loop from our idea. We can listen to just the mid-range of that piano loop, everything below 914 Hertz. And let's say we wanted to have it pan left and right with a square shape like this. Simultaneously, let's say we wanted the top band to just be panned off to the left a little bit. The combination of the two creates a really interesting dynamic movement. You can see that the options are quite limitless with a plugin like this. Now let's hear that effect in context with the whole mix. Sounds dope. When you understand the stereo image, control placement in the stereo image, maintain balance, and get creative with panning, you can make your mixes go from sounding cluttered, narrow, and lifeless to wide, vibrant, and multidimensional with clarity and minimal masking. Let's take a listen to all of this in action at once, starting with a non-pan basic mix to one where panning has been used like a pro. We can't wait for you to experiment with these tips, and we encourage you to share your findings and insight with us in the comments. Happy producing.